On the news, Nigeria moves to boost electoral process as it begins demonstration for electronic voting. Mixed reactions trail suspension of planned nationwide protest by organized labor. And France gives Lebanon ultimatum to form new government. A warm welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Nigeria is set to join the list of countries to have adopted electronic voting to improve the integrity of its electioneering system. The country's electoral umpire, INEC, kick-started the process on Monday when it commenced a test run for the use of electronic voting and collation of results in Nigeria. Chairman of the Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, who led the demonstration at its headquarters in Abuja, said the move is the first step towards the introduction of e-voting, which will replace the manual voting system. He said INEC has invited manufacturers of electronic voting machines around the world to practically demonstrate how the machines work, adding that 40 electronic voting machine vendors have expressed interest in providing the technology in Nigeria.
After extensive discussion and review, the Commission took the decision to invite original manufacturers around the world for a virtual or practical demonstration of the machines. Over 40 companies have indicated interest, and they will demonstrate to the Commission how their IT solutions meet our specifications. I wish to emphasize that this is only a demonstration that will enable the Commission to evaluate the available technology and, where necessary, fine-tune our specifications before proceeding to the next stage, which will involve the participation of stakeholders. The Commission is aware that Nigerians want us to deepen the use of technology in elections. Let me reassure each and every Nigerian that the Commission is committed to expediting the process leading to the deployment of electronic voting machines in elections in earnest.
The Commission is taking a very important step-one approach to using electronics in our election by inviting and making itself available to receive and hear from various vendors a presentation. This is just a preliminary presentation of what is out there, so that we can learn more and fine-tune before we engage properly with the due process to procure electronic EVM machine for the use of our future election.
And talking politics, 2 years after dumping the PDP for the APC, former Delta State Governor Emmanuel Udwaha has returned to the People's Democratic Party PDP. Udwaha announced his exit from the APC on Monday and was received back into the PDP at his ward in Agborodo, Ward 6 in Warri North. Confirming his exit on Twitter handle, the former governor wrote, quote, "I am back to join forces with other party greats to strengthen our party, the largest party in Africa, PDP." Udwaha joined the APC in August of 2018. A year later, he went on to contest for the Delta South Senatorial District election, but lost to the candidate of the PDP, James Manager. Well, mixed reactions have trailed the decision of the organized labor to suspend its planned nationwide strike action in protest of the recent hike in fuel price and electricity tariff. While the move has been hailed by the Nigerian Petroleum Corporation and the All Progressives Congress, it has been condemned by some state chapters of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress. At a protest against the move, chairman of the NLC in Edo State, Sonny Osayande, and his TUC counterpart, Masha Ohwe, expressed displeasure over the move. They stressed that the decision to suspend the planned strike action was hurriedly taken by the national leaders without consultation with the National Executive Council members and key stakeholders across the country. The organized labor was supposed to embark on a protest today, but backed out early this morning after the federal government agreed to suspend implementation of the new electricity tariff and improve local refining capacity and rehabilitate the country's refineries. The proposed $1.9 billion rail line from Kano to Maradi will enhance Nigeria's strong trade presence in landlocked nations and make the country compete for export and import of goods coming in from Niger through Lagos port. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed said this while reacting to criticism that trailed the government's decision. Our correspondent Abisola Adebayo has details in this report.
On September 23rd, the Federal Executive Council approved the award of a contract for the development of a rail line designed to take off from Kano, linking Dutse, Katsina and Jibia through to Maradi in Niger Republic for a total cost of $1.9 billion. Since the announcement, mixed reactions have trailed the government's decision, with many Nigerians sharply divided over the significance of the project. The federal government, however, wants citizens to see the larger picture, claiming the project will be of great value to Nigeria's railway infrastructure.
Since 1987, until this administration came to be, there has been little or no effort to improve our rail system. And this administration in particular, in the last 5 years, been able to make a huge impact on the rail system, which is not being well acknowledged. When you invest in infrastructure, you're not investing in infrastructure and hoping that the money you make from the rail is what they are going to use to pay back your loan. No. You invest in infrastructure because it improves the economy overall. So I'm very confident that that investment will more than pay for itself, in the sense that it is going to allow goods and services and people to move from one part of the country to the other in the most efficient and the most safe manner.
Mohammed further explains that the rail link will enhance bilateral trade and position Nigeria to compete for export and import of goods coming to and from Niger through Lagos port.
Landlocked states are states that have no access to the sea. Now, Niger is one of it.
One of them, yeah.
So what we are doing by extending our railroad to Maradi is to make a strong presence and compete for export and import of goods and raw materials from Maradi to leave through Lagos port and come through Lagos port.
But some activists do not consider this explanation sufficient. Achike Chude says the project is a misplaced priority, considering that it will require borrowing from external sources.
With the realization that there is a dearth of infrastructure in the healthcare sector of this country, in the educational sector of this country, in road infrastructure, we have this serious deficit infrastructure to now commit a whopping $1.9 billion to enhance the development of another country without any visible economic returns to this country is something that a lot of people feel is despicable and an act of unpatriotism.
Nigeria is currently grappling with a poor economy, largely due to the coronavirus pandemic. The country is also projected to slip into a recession as a global lockdown imposed to contain the virus has crippled its revenue generation capacity. This project, once completed, is one way the government is hoping to boost revenue and stimulate growth. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Lagos.
President Muhammadu Buhari has said his administration would not relent in its effort to eradicate corruption in the country, stressing that Nigeria needs a corruption-free public sector to achieve transformation. Buhari spoke at the inauguration of the National Ethics and Integrity Policy to mark the Commission's 20th anniversary and Nigeria's 60th independence anniversary. The president expressed the belief that it is when the three arms and three levels of government work together that the government will be enabled to serve the country and the positive impact of the efforts will be seen. He adds that the government is implementing different corruption prevention measures to track and retain revenue for the use of the people. The Federal High Court in Abuja has awarded 50 million naira in favor of the woman assaulted by Senator Elisha Abbo. Abbo had in 2019 slapped one Osimi Bibra Wamate repeatedly during a misunderstanding at a sex toy store in Abuja. A video of the incident, which went viral, caused public uproar, with many calling for his sack in the Senate. Now, the judgment is coming months after a magistrate court dismissed the charges against Abbo for lack of evidence. Still with the judiciary, the 36 states of the Federation have gone before the Supreme Court to challenge the presidential executive order on the funding of the courts across the country. In the suit filed through their respective attorneys general, the states argued that the executive order is unconstitutional. They contended that Buhari's executive order number 0010 of 2020 was a clear violation of Section 6 and 8, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution, which makes it the responsibility of the federal government to fund the listed courts. The Public Complaints Commission, PCC, on Monday continued where it left off in its protest over the 17-month national minimum wage and consequential adjustment arrears owed by the federal government. Staff members of the Joint Union of the Commission in Abuja were seen carrying placards with various inscriptions to drive home their demands. They allege that the federal government has remained most insensitive to their course, adding that the worrisome situation can only be salvaged as they continually besiege the headquarters of the Commission.
We started our strike before that of the general one called by the NLC. And we have made our demands known. We have made the relevant bodies that we should talk with them. And at the first meeting we had, there was an agreement, an MOU was signed. And a week was given interval for them to go back to their principals to talk and find a solution to our demands. But it was unfortunate that on Thursday or Friday that we were asked to go back, we went back to the Labour House, to Ministry of Labour to continue with the meeting. Unfortunately, the people in question, the Ministry of Finance representative and the representative of Accountant General, stood us down. None of them showed up. And to us, it is a displayment of insensitivity. So I don't think we're going to call off this strike. We'll continue with this strike until our demands are met. And we want the whole world to know that you can't just push us to the wall and expect us to just sit down and not react. This strike will continue. We will not stop it until our demands are met.
The figure under consideration is in the sum of 872 million naira to offset the arrears and to enable them begin to pay between now and December. To our surprise, we went back on Friday as agreed. The representative of the Federal Ministry of Finance and Accountant General did not show up. They didn't come. We asked why. We were told that they were there involved with NLC on the proposed national strike.
Well, Nigeria owes its status as a polio-free country to the painstaking effort of the government and support partners, and the contributions of some of these individuals have not gone unnoticed both locally and outside the shores of the country. Our correspondent Abisola Adebayo has been speaking to Nigeria's polio hero Tunji Funsho, who recently got the recognition of Times Magazine as one of the 100 most influential people in the world. She files in this report.
For decades, Nigeria fought a hard battle against polio. As more effort was channeled into the fight by the government, local partners, volunteers, and the international community, the country moved gradually to the verge of winning. Eventually, Nigeria reached 3 years without a case of wild polio virus in 2019, and in August 2020, the African region was certified free of the virus. This could not have been achieved without the support of Rotary's International Polio Plus Committee, chaired by Dr. Tunji Funsho. In recognition of a significant contribution to eradicating polio in Africa, the former cardiologist was named on Time's list of 100 most influential people in the world for the year 2020. This, he says, is an inspiration to get more work done.
When you get recognition for what you've got, no matter how much we have tamed our need for recognition, it tends to propel you to want to even do better, because you will not want to lag behind again. Maybe in the same sphere of activity, maybe in a new sphere of activity. But surely this is an impetus to ensure that whatever I decide to do after this, during this, I'll put in the best.
Dr. Funshaw and his Rotary members has been deeply immersed in the fight for years. At his office, a symbolic tree is planted to mark every milestone achieved in the journey. It recalls vividly some of the challenges at the early stage before the feat was achieved.
Our greatest challenge at the beginning in particular, and that's the late 90s and early 2000s, is an acceptance of the vaccine. That some families, based on information that was passed down to them either by their political leaders or their religious leaders or traditional leaders, suspect the vaccine to be harmful. And of course, eventually it was shown not to be the case by the efforts of the federal government. That was a very low point after we've achieved quite a bit of coverage. As we moved along, of course, the insurgency came along and made it impossible for us to access children in the northeastern part of the country for 2 years, which meant that there were children born in 2 years who did not get the appropriate dosage of the oral polio vaccine.
Going forward, Dr. Funshaw warns against complacency as a result of the polio-free status. He says awareness must continue at all levels to ensure children continue to receive their routine immunization.
I've heard, some people I've been speaking with, why do we now still continue to immunize our children? Why do we need to be appropriating so much funds for the purpose of polio eradication? That's a major challenge. So our job lies now in advocacy to government and at every level, to the traditional leadership, to religious leadership, and to the community we serve as well, because at the end of the day, if the community also feels that there's no more polio, why should I immunize my child? All our efforts will be in vain.
Health organizations are currently working to eradicate polio from Pakistan and Afghanistan, which are the last two countries where the disease remains endemic. However, global incidence of polio cases has decreased by 99%. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Lagos.
Well, let's take a break here, but still to come. India surpasses 6 million COVID-19 cases as death toll nears 100,000. More after the break. Glad to have you back. Here is a reminder of some of our top stories tonight. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has commenced a test run for the use of electronic voting and collation of results in Nigeria. At a demonstration which held at its headquarters in Abuja on Monday, the electoral umpire revealed that 40 electronic voting machine vendors have expressed interest in providing the technology in the country. 2 years after dumping the PDP for the APC, former Delta State Governor Emmanuel Udwanha has returned to the People's Democratic Party. Udwanha announced his exit from the APC on Monday and was received back into the PDP at his ward in Igborodo, Ward 6 in Warri North. The Federal High Court in Abuja has awarded 50 million naira in favor of the woman assaulted by Senator Elisha Abu at a store in Abuja in 2019. The judgment is coming months after a magistrate court dismissed the charges against Abo for lack of evidence. Well, let's now take a look at the latest update on the COVID-19 pandemic. Nigeria has confirmed 126 new cases of the novel coronavirus. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, in its latest update on Sunday, revealed that the new cases were confirmed from 11 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. This takes the country's infections to 58,324. Although the number of fresh cases have been on a decline in recent months, the coronavirus has claimed 1,108 lives so far in Nigeria. Meanwhile, on a positive note, a total of 49,794 people who contracted the virus have been fully treated and discharged. Elsewhere, India has reported 6 million coronavirus cases, inching closer to the United States as the most infected nation. The vast nation is home to 1.3 billion people and for several weeks has been reporting around 90,000 new cases daily, which is the highest in the world. The Health Ministry data showed a rise of 82,000 cases on Monday, taking the total to 6.1 million and closing the gap on the United States, which has so far recorded 7.1 million infections. The country, however, has a much lower death rate than other worst-hit nations, with almost 100,000 fatalities so far. Let's take a break, and when we return, we'll bring you updates from the world of business. Stay with us.
What is it now?
What is it?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. Eh? What's wrong with you? Is any other person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just respecting you, sir. You remember I've paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you, and I. This, your selfishness, is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption,
not in my country.
Oh, you know, go to your bank. Go.
Corruption, not in my country.
Welcome back. Let's now join Oyin Adekunle for business news.
Thank you very much, Fidelia, and welcome to Business News. President Muhammadu Buhari has transmitted the much-awaited Petroleum Industry Bill 2020 to the National Assembly. The bill proposes the creation of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the scrapping of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, as well as the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency. The bill also proposes the establishment of an agency known as the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission and creation of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Well, let's take a pause here and return with Stock Market Review. The Nigerian equities market recorded about 99 billion naira gain in the value of listed equities today at the opening of trading activities. Crucial market indicators appreciated by 0.72% to close, of course, at 26,507 basis points. Market breadth also closed positive with 22 equities recording gains against 7 losers. And this upturn was impacted by gains, impacted by value appreciation recorded in some stocks such as Total, MTN Nigeria, Okomu Oil and BUA Cement, which led the gainers list today. But on the laggards table, we see Seplat leading the list as the biggest loser. Its share price depreciated the most today, shedding 2 naira to close at 398 naira from 400 naira per share in previous session. May and Baker also followed, shedding 17 kobo. The share price of Coverton Offshore also dropped by 11 kobo, but UAC Property completed the list of 4 with a 10 naira decline. But in summary, over 336 million shares valued at 4 billion naira exchanged hands in 4,602 deals. Moving on now to international markets, we see that FTSE is trading positive on pound rally. Dow Jones equally rallies over 450 points on hopes for a stimulus package. Good trading as well for Nikkei, rising at the close of trading by 1.32%. And that's it from here. It's back to you now, Fidelia.
Thank you very much, Oni, for that update. Let's now move to the foreign scene. French President Emmanuel Macron has given Lebanese political leaders a 6-week ultimatum to form a new government. This follows the resignation of Lebanon's Prime Minister-designate Mustafa Adib over the weekend. Speaking at a news conference in Paris on Sunday, Macron said the Lebanese political leaders had betrayed the commitment to form a government by mid-September. Macron also accused the Lebanese authorities and political forces of favoring their individual interest to the detriment of the general interest of the country. Lebanon is currently immersed in the worst economic and financial crisis in its modern history. And talking sports now, Luis Suarez has set a new record in Atletico Madrid, becoming the first player in the club to score and assist on his debut in the 21st century. The former Barcelona centre-back is also the first debutant to net a double for the club this century as well. In barely 30 minutes of playing for the club, Suarez found the back of the net twice and created an assist for Atletico to defeat Granada 6-1 on Sunday. Suarez, who enjoyed a successful 6-year spell at Barcelona, signed a 2-year deal with Atletico after falling out of favour at Camp Nou. And that's it on News Now. Many thanks for joining us. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.